What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Crazy for KV's RC. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. So on this episode of the RC Garage Tour, we're on the second to last episode of my running crawlers when I started this. We've got some that are being built, some that I'm working on in the meantime, but I'm not going to reshoot the series in a different order. I'll just add them and kind of talk about where I would place them. And they're going to be new, so they're probably going to fall somewhere in the middle, depending on what the truck is. So for this episode, episode 12, we're talking about my Vanquish VS4-10 Phoenix. This is a pretty run-of-the-mill Phoenix. Nothing too crazy going on. Very stock. I chose some really nice electronics for this, though. And I also put a light kit in it. But other than that, not a whole lot of craziness going on with this. This is painted in like a deep blue. It looks purple in some light, which originally I wasn't happy about, but I really do like it. And then it's got a gunmetal top on it, which is kind of cool. This is really dusty. Probably should have cleaned it off for you all, but decided to show you, you know, the reality of owning a bunch of trucks, and you can't keep them all in showroom condition. You guys have seen a bunch of my tires are real dirty. I definitely don't clean those off. Occasionally I will wipe these down, and maybe before I put this one back on the shelf, I will give it a little wipe down with some Simple Green. Yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about how I built my Phoenix. So this is one of the original Phoenix Portals. I tried to get on like when they first released them, and they sold out super quick. It was actually my first like Vanquish kit that I bought. You guys just saw my Vanquish VS4-10 Pro, but I actually owned this beforehand, so this has been driven quite a bit more, hence why it's a little bit higher on the list. So I didn't talk about it too much in that VS4-10 Pro video, but let's just talk real quick about what you get when you buy a VS4-10, whether it's Pro, an Ultra, a Phoenix, straight axle, or Portal. So what you get is, you get the chassis. You guys saw that VS4-10 chassis that was on the cliffhanger. And this is kind of that same chassis. It's a super rigid C-channel chassis with some really good cross members, lots of bracing, so it ends up being super stiff. Really hard to get any flex out of the chassis even if you try. So all the kits now are coming with a VFD transmission or a variant of that. So the Pro and the Ultra come with the VFD standard. So no dig and no selectable overdrive built in. Well, this, you guys have already seen my C3, just posted that final video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I know some people have really been keeping an eye on the progress of that build, and I think kind of waiting to hear what my final thoughts are. So, but I'll link that build series here, so go check that out. Definitely come back and watch this. But yeah, that one was quite a lengthy and expensive build, so definitely want you guys to see it. Let me know what you think, if there's anything you would have done differently. So back to the Phoenix and Vanquish VS4-10 kits as a whole. So you get a variant of a VFD, which is their low slung forward motor mount. The motor sits super low. I talked about that in the Pro video. But in the Phoenix, you get the option to do a selectable overdrive and dig, all built in. The Pro and the Ultra, it's an additional unit that attaches to the transmission. Very similar, but you don't get that selectable overdrive feature. You do have the option to lock those out, so if you're on a budget, I definitely suggest the Phoenix because you don't necessarily have to put the extra 2 servos in there. There's some set screws, you can lock them out, and as your budget allows, or as your experience grows, or your driving style changes a little bit, or you just want to try something new, you can throw some RTR servos in there, or some budget-friendly servos. Just watch the voltage. If you have a high-powered steering servo, and you've got your BC cranked, just be mindful if you're going to put an RTR in there. I know a lot of them will take over 7 volts, but they don't advertise that, and if it puffs smoke, then you're kind of SOL because it's never the intended use. But in addition to that VFD transmission, you also get, obviously, the axles. You get wheels, you get tires. That's not what these are, but I definitely prefer their machined aluminum wheels, and Proline or J-Concepts kind of are my tires of choice. The one reason the Phoenix is so much cheaper than a Pro or an Ultra, though, is because it comes with plastic axle housings. Those aluminum axle housings take a long time to machine, quite a bit of material, and it definitely demands a premium price. And you see that reflected in the final sale price. But the Phoenix, whether it's straight or Portal, does come with plastic axles, which is really nice. They slide across the rocks really easily. They're lightweight. This truck is already kind of a tank, especially for being a plastic axle truck. We'll throw a weight right here just so you guys can see it and kind of know what this thing's going to weigh with everything inside of it. When you buy a Phoenix, an Ultra, or a Pro, you also get a body. So on the Ultra and the Pro, you get that half cab, which you guys saw in the last episode. On the Phoenix, you get this kind of reminiscent of a FJ. It's not a licensed body, but it also has like a caged rear end in here. You can run a spare tire if you want, which would be kind of cool. Definitely some added weight. It's kind of nice though because you get an exposed fuel cell. So that same fuel cell you've seen in the past, you actually get to see it here. It'd be pretty cool if Vanquish had an option to do scale hardware as the nuts, just to like add some real easy detail. I'm not big into like small detail painting, so I would much rather just buy a pack of the screws and screw them in and call it good. Another difference between the Pro and the Ultra and the Phoenix, two separate groups. The Pro being the straight axle, the Ultra being the Portal and the aluminum variant, and then the Phoenix having a straight and a Portal axle version, is the shocks. So Pro and Ultra are going to come with their standard incision shocks. They've been out for a while. They're really low profile, so you can fit them in some pretty tight spots. They don't have like a really large bore on them, but the cap does screw on outside the body. So these are an internal thread cap, so the cap actually screws into the body, which is pretty nice, a little bit more scale, and these perform well. And they haven't leaked yet on me, so knock on wood. There's wood underneath this cutting mat, I swear. But let's talk real quick about what I have in this, and let's get outside and let's run it. Another nice feature about the Phoenix is there's no exposed body pins. There's a couple of body pins back here, one on each side, and the body just pivots up like this. I have some lights in here, and the wires aren't necessarily long enough for me to actually flip it all the way up, but without the light kit in there, you definitely could. So for electronics, I'm running a Copperhead ESC 2700 Polar Pro, my favorite motor. You guys have seen it a bunch of times. So for a steering servo, I'm running the ProTech 370 TBL. Really reliable servo. It's kind of been a staple in the crawling community for a while. This is the only one I have, but I do like it. It's a little bit slower than some of the other ones, like the 170, but a little bit more torquey if I remember right. I'm also running some pretty premium low profile servos. These are the 160Ts, and tons of power in the mid to high 200s. I'll post that down below. I don't remember exactly what that is. So I've got this hooked up to my FlySky Noble. This is running an 8-channel receiver. Not necessarily needed. I wish they had a 6-channel option because I'm using 5. So obviously steering, ESC, the 2 accessory servos, and then my headlights. I do have some taillights too. Those are always on the way I have them set up. And for the meats, the tires and wheels, I'm running gray tanks on this, full scale hardware, black Scarn outer rings, and these are on Proline flat iron XLs. It's a 4.75, but if you really look at them, they're basically the same as Proline crawlers. They just have a little bit more siping, and I think just like they have a little bit more of a flat contact patch, just the natural way it's molded, I think. But they look really good. They perform pretty well. They don't do as well as crawlers, I don't think, but these aren't super broken in, so we'll see with time. So inside those tires, I'm running Crawler Innovations Lil Novas. They're 4.75 with no tuning ring, and then I'm running soft up front, medium in the rear, and they feel great. They've got good sidewall support, and they've done well so far. This truck has a lot of miles on it. Definitely the most out of any of my trucks, most likely. Nothing crazy. Some guys have, in the 20s, 30s, tens of miles. This probably has 10 to 15 or so, but normally I'm just kind of crawling in one spot. But this has actually gone out and done multiple mile trails a couple of times, so it's proven. Never broken anything, but yeah, it's just all around, it's great. It performs well. For being so heavy, most of the weight is down low. That low center of gravity is one of the main draws of a VS4-10. You could actually basically have it much further than most trucks. I recommend if you have a TRX4 or an SCX, probably any variant, try this, and just kind of compare it to how far over you can get it, and it'll come back. I know like my TRX4, much less like there, it really wants to start tipping on you. So the weight just sits up much higher. Brass can help combat that, but this doesn't have any added brass on it, no wheel weights, nothing. Just a solid truck that was definitely like designed and engineered to perform. So enough talking, let's take this thing outside, let's run it. We're gonna go to my favorite crawling spot you guys have seen 11 other times, and let's go see what this thing can do, and let me know what you guys think. So let's go. All right guys, we're coming to the end of this series. I've got my favorite everyday trail truck, crawler. Not the most capable, but it's just my favorite, and it's got the most miles on it. I probably put 10 to 12 miles on it when I was in Cherokee Rock Village in 2 days, so didn't break a thing. Took some pretty hard tumbles on some very hard jagged rocks, but I just ate it. that's a wrap on my Phoenix. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you don't have a Phoenix, they're definitely worth checking out. This is probably gonna be out a little late for any Black Friday sales they're having on them, but I know they were running them for low 300s as a kit. Definitely worth the money. I wouldn't encourage you guys to buy or spend your money on much. That's always your decision, but if you guys catch them at that price, if you don't have one, do it. Throw a Fusion Pro in there. Throw a receiver if you have a radio system already. EcoPower 120T. You can lock out the other 2 servos and save up. But as you guys can see, for a full-bodied, almost 8-pound truck, it can actually do quite a bit. And that's a lot of benefit with that increased overdrive, on demand, and dig. I didn't use dig at all today, didn't need it. But yeah, it's a really fun truck. There's a reason it's all scratched up and dirty. Gets driven a lot. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.